Hey guys, welcome to Tool Talk episode 22. I'm Jose, the marketing communication specialist here at Jonard Tools. And today we have two very special guests, Kareem and Shaun. Kareem, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for us real quick?
So yeah, my name is Kareem Edwards. I'm originally from the Caribbean. I came here in 2007, obviously looking for the American dream. Part of my experience with UEI, just coming from a place where, I came here with the intent to follow a certain career path that didn't work out given the time I came, the economy and everything like that. So I kind of reset everything and, from then on tried to figure out a path to success, a lot of frustrating days. So at some point in time, I wanted to make a shift and try to figure out essentially where I wanted to go in my life. And, UEI was essentially a really nice avenue for me to use at the time, given my work restrictions with time, as well as just availability and the programs available there at the time was HVAC, something I felt was very marketable. So, I joined solely to just have some tools to propel my career, as I came here trying to reestablish myself in the United States. It was a very great experience at UEI. I met a lot of great people, great um, instructors, and definitely was of value to me, into the career that I am in right now, where, I feel as though I'm pretty successful in my field, and UEI kind of helped me establish myself there. So, my background was I would say it was pretty good. Again, lacking direction, and UEI kind of provided that with the program and the instructions, and a lot of counseling from career services was very, very helpful for me at the time. Is it?
That's awesome, Kareem. Wow. What about you, Shaun?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on that real quick, how long has it been since you've graduated?
I essentially graduated in 2018, so that would be about 6 years, going on 7 years.
Okay, well, congratulations. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so my name's Shaun Mohlmann. I'm from Simi Valley, California. Born and raised here. I've been doing electrical for about 17 years now. My field experience is quite vast. I've had 22 jobs. Some people might see that as a bad thing, maybe on a resume, but in all reality, it's made me very versatile and very well-rounded. And I'm able to really just come in as an instructor, which I never thought I would do. But being with all that experience, I have the confidence. So it is a great opportunity to be here at UEI. In addition to that, I have an 8-year-old daughter. She is my world, my everything, right? Um, uh, I used to skateboard. That was like my other passion besides doing electrical. I knew those two things I always wanted to do, skateboarding and electrical. Both of those things have made me to who I am.
Wow, that's awesome. And it seems you have a very diverse background. I know most people it's difficult to maintain one job, let alone, 22. So, very impressive. Um, so yeah, we want to touch on the student experience at UEI. Most people who are trying to get into the skilled trades want to have an idea of what it's like to be a student. What are some of the struggles? What are some of the benefits, some of the things you've learned, both from the student experience, Kareem, and also as an instructor, Shaun. So, Kareem, can you touch a little bit on that, on what the student experience was like for you? Was it what you expected? Was it different? What was the day-to-day life like? Things of that nature.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be honest, that's one of the main things that I remember about UEI outside obviously the education. I had a great student experience. One thing that kind of is very underrated in schools like UEI is the impact of hands-on education, diving in and actually doing real, field work within the classroom. Because not all students, which I have noticed, I'm pretty savvy when it comes to, listening to instructors and kind of applying that knowledge But a lot of people sometimes need, a visual interpretation of the lesson. So that was very key. One things that I experienced as well is, when you have a lot of different people coming in with different reasonings and different whys as to why they're in the program, sometimes you get different feedback from each other. So that was pretty good. There's a lot of camaraderie. The teachers kind of worked with you. They weren't really teaching down on you. They were like essentially expressing their feeling. They kind of extended that knowledge to you. So it was a great experience. Again, the different people, different backgrounds kind of helped me kind of, you know, um, cherish the opportunity just to be exposed to all of that. The curriculum I felt was really, really well tailored from start to finish because me coming in, not really knowing much about HVAC to when I left, I had a bag full of tools and an opportunity waiting. So, I would say all in all, my student experience was great. I couldn't really see that going in. Going in, I thought it was a bunch of studying. Oh man, I got more cramming. I left college way back in the day. I don't know if I'm able to do this again. This memory thing, as you get older, gets tricky, but it really helps me kind of maintain everything as well as the hands-on, kind of really lock in all the information. I was able to benefit from that for when I graduated. After taking everything serious, was able to apply it in the real world in my career. So yeah, the student experience was amazing. So
Nice.
Well, that's awesome.
Kareem, something that you touched on as well that I think is very interesting is the fact that you came into UEI looking for direction, right? And I mean, the way I think about it, the skilled trades is such a diverse, industry. I bet a lot of students probably feel the same way, getting into the skilled trades, not knowing exactly what they want to do, how they want to organize their lives. Shaun, I'm sure you run into, a bunch of students asking for that kind of guidance. What's your approach when it comes to, guiding a student in that direction, or giving them direction, if you will? What are some of the things that you do to help out in that manner?
Yeah, I mean, that's the most satisfying part for me. I mean, because every student has their own story, their own struggles, whatever it might be. And I have to tailor myself to each individual student, right? Um, we don't want to leave anyone behind. And we also want to make sure the ones that are maybe a little bit more advanced get more to them, right? So what UEI offers is really neat. So the way I like to put it is you graduate in 9 months, right? So you're taking that 9 months in addition to my 17 years of experience. So that, I mean, it's the best. I mean, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the real world reality from my experience and the way that I've done things, and then the curriculum based. So they go hand in hand. That's the best opportunity for these students to get. It's better than the kid or whoever you want to say that's at home playing Call of Duty all day, right? That opportunity is going to be difficult going into the trades.
What's wrong with that?
So,
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just kidding.
you know what I mean. All right. The opportunity is going to be better for them once they graduate UEI. The door is going to be easier because they're going to be guided. And we're always here. There's someone always here for every student in every experience, every scenario. So we definitely provide that as a team. And again, we're always growing and trying to diversify and make the curriculum stronger and better. So as technology changes, as the trade changes, we change with it. And we provide that for our students.
Wow, that's awesome. I would love to have a mentor like you, Shaun. I feel like I
I feel
need
like
some
I need some
direction
direction
sometimes.
sometimes.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
but Kareem, so another thing that you mentioned was that you came to the States, with not necessarily the most accurate idea of like how things work. Like I'm sure there was some kind of disconnect there, and it seems to me like UEI provided that connection that you needed to be where you are right now. So can you talk a little bit about that, about like just your overall comfort level? Because I know me, if I get into a situation that's foreign to me, being comfortable or having people that make me comfortable is a big deal. It determines whether or not I'm successful in, whatever experience that is. So, can you touch on that, like your comfort levels? What were some of the ways that UEI helped you get comfortable in that atmosphere?
Right. My comfort level, yes, like you said, it was pretty tough, especially coming from my background, totally different background. Had to go through the culture shock of the United States, American dream, the fast-paced lifestyle here. So at some points it was a little overwhelming. And again, I had a little anxiety thinking about going back to school and being able to, retain the information after having been in the workforce for so long. But the staff, the instructor, again, everyone, it seems they brought themselves to your level. We're all in this together. We're here to support you. We're experiencing your field, so we're here to just to lend their experience and like Shaun said, we're adding the curriculum as well as their experience. So I feel like that's a well-rounded approach. And me coming from the islands, coming and trying to figure out a direction, I essentially had that sense of urgency to apply myself properly, and not just, like I said earlier in the podcast, that some people come for different reasons and whys, and that might not always align with success. Some might come because obviously they got a grant or something like that was free, and they might not be locked in. So it's important for, someone making the decision to come to a school to want to further their career to make that time and understand why you're there and lock in, because what's happening is, you have that one side of it where I graduated with a certificate at EPA, right? And a bag full of tools, hands-on experience. A lot of people might go a different route. They might just pay for an EPA course online, have the EPA, but the difference with me is when I go on the job site, I actually know what I'm doing. I don't need to relearn things. I don't need to YouTube things. I don't need to be stuck. I already have the hands-on training. So that is what helped me in my career, because my career currently in property management and the operations side, having an HVAC experience and being able to, troubleshoot and take care of those types of emergencies was critical. And that kind of helped me propel my career, because a lot of other people didn't take my route and didn't have that experience. So again, the whole staff made me feel very comfortable. Career services was very easy to talk to, as well as, just figuring out all the loan situation. Because again, I'm from the Caribbean, we don't have loans and grants and things like that. So they helped me figure out all those details. I would meet with them, here and there. And it was just a very well-rounded experience. It was easy for me. Again, coming from someone that's been in the field, not knowing how I would retain the information, again, I was able to excel, and I didn't feel like I had to cram and put all this effort into reading all this material like you think you are in college or something like that. It was very easy. And again, once you delve in and you pay attention and you're intentional about wanting to learn, I think it's a nice streamlined approach to you pivoting if you are in that stage in your life and going into something that could be successful for you.
Yeah, and I can actually touch on that. I can't tell you how many dozens of students I've already been through and graduated. When they started with me, they were shy, they were embarrassed, they had to keep their head down when they talked to me, can't do eye contact. At the end of the program, totally changed, totally different outlook, totally different approach. It was a night and day difference. And that's for the majority of the students that happens. So that feels good. It's definitely working because we see the change. We see the change in the students' attitude, the way that they're dressed and they behave, they cooperate. And that's because of the structure that UEI provides.
Yeah,
Wow,
if I want
that's
to add, sorry to cut you off, is they also have they nominate you for these awards as well. So it's almost like, I can't exactly remember what the awards were, but I know there were some excellence awards, and they would have it in the hallways. So if you put in that work and you're on that list, in a way, or if you have like this bragging right, you feel this level of appreciation for the work you put in, because you see your name here, Dean's List, when you walk down the hallway having this conversation with your friends, and that could also inspire other people that might not necessarily be locked in at the time. Hey man, yeah, that's great. You're up there, and then also the opportunity that came afterwards as well. So again, very amazing experience for me overall.
Wow, Kareem, you didn't have to flex your dean's list on us like that. But,
Hey.
Well, I gotta flex myself now.
Yeah. No, that's awesome though, and it seems like there are two things at play here, right? The guidance that UEI provides. Kareem and Shaun, listening to both of you speak about your experiences, it gives me the impression that it's not individualistic. It's like a team. You know, you keep talking as if you're part of a team, and I love that. You know, you use words like camaraderie, you use words like support, and that's all, you know, things that are present in a team environment. And I think that's, you know, obviously very important for success. But you know, I'm actually curious because obviously I'm not in the skilled trades. School for me was you sit in the classroom and you listen to a lecture for like 40 minutes, an hour, and some change, whatever it may be. What is it like to be in the classroom at UEI? Like what are some of like the day-to-day happenings for a student and an instructor? And Shaun, if you can touch on that, and then Kareem, you can, you know, chime in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the best part, right? This is what they look forward to is the lab days. So we have lab and Zoom, right? So they have the 2 lab days per week. I teach 2 classes, so that's 4 labs per week, depending on which mod we're in, meaning which type of electrical I'm teaching. But yeah, this is what they look forward to. This is why they come. They're motivated to be here. And for me, because again, every instructor teaches a little bit differently, depending on their experience and time, etc. I try to keep my students as busy as possible. Any downtime that they have, they're on their phones, right? So the way I structure my program is just to keep them moving, right? Like my dad taught me when I was right getting into the field, you know, finish all your work, do everything you're told to do, but pick up a broom and start sweeping. So what I try to provide is work ethic, because I do feel like it's declining. So I make sure that they're, one, yes, listening to the lecture in the beginning of the lab. So that's about like a 50-minute lecture and maybe some type of worksheet, whether it's panel upgrade material list or whatever it might be per that unit. Because again, we teach, you know, multiple different things. It's not just commercial or residential. So yeah, I would say that's their favorite part. That's what they look forward to. That's why they come. They get that hands-on experience, right? And the goal is to just keep them busy, keep them motivated. And then eventually, I don't have to like watch them every single thing they do. They're doing it on their own, autonomously. So they're building character together, working together with each other. So at one point, I really don't even teach because they are picking it up and they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's how we need to keep that running. So that's the pace I try to keep.
Nice. Yeah, in my experience in the classroom, you know, again, having exposure to different warps of lives, you know, the camaraderie that we build, the relationships with the instructor, it kind of set the foundation for what the work field is going to be as well, too, you know, because that's essentially what I ended up doing as I progressed in my career. Obviously, I have a boss to answer to that, you know, obviously requires certain performance, certain things being done. And I have fellow coworkers that I might have to train. And again, all of that is, I learned that in UEI, you know, having the hands-on experience, probably having a little better understanding. So I was able to have the opportunity to, you know, train other students, you know, alongside the instructor and whatnot. You know, and again, it was a great experience having fellow like-minded, you know, young individuals that want to, you know, propel themselves. And just seeing that motivation in everyone, it helps you want to just be part of the experience, either be part of helping your co-student grow, be part of helping your instructor, you know, deliver and, you know, assist in any way, help setting up the apparatus to do the hands-on. You know, it just encourages participation, you know. And again, you know, coming in, different people might have different understanding of what they're going to get into, so they might be closed, you know, in their shell. But there's a lot of opportunities because, you know, the teachers are very intentional about, you know, interacting with you and calling on you to do things, you know, putting you in a situation to, you know, show what you learn. Very proactive and kind of like fishing out, you know, how much you actually know and what they need to work on. So I feel like they were very intentional at the time. And then career services, again, will check in on you, try to figure out where you're heading, try to match you with some type of opportunity. So I really liked it. It was very streamlined, well thought out. Again, just once you apply yourself within that curriculum and you accept the guidance from the staff, I feel as though you're set up for success once you make that commitment to go to school.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. And again, the whole guidance aspect, right? Like it seems like that support system is readily available at UEI at all times. Um, so for me, when I was in school, one of the most stressful parts, especially in college, was towards my junior and senior year because that was the point where I had to figure out what I'm gonna do post grad. I know that I speak for probably for the vast majority of the student population when I say those are some of the most stressful times, of my life because I'm no longer in school, just going to lectures and in the classroom setting. Now I have to go into the real world and apply those skills that I learned in school. I've got to fill out job applications. I've got to do all these things that I may not be the most familiar with. Um, what is that process like at UEI? Because I know that there's a common goal everyone has there, and it's to, graduate and get placed somewhere where they can be successful and comfortable. Kareem, it seems like, you're at a place right now where you're very successful, very comfortable. You put in the hard work. You did what you had to do, and that's why you are where you're at. But I assume that you got a lot of guidance from them in terms of how to go about that. So, what was that process like for you? Like, the post grad process. Getting into the places that you're at right now. And Sean, I'm sure you have a lot of students asking those same questions. What's kind of like your feedback with that?
When it came to that, I would say it started well within the just way before the post grad process. It started from them kind of vetting you to understand what direction you wanted to go. As you get close to graduation, obviously career services kind of talk to you. They have their opportunities available, and obviously they fit you in where they feel as though you're ready and your progression level would kind of help you. One of the things that I would say was the most important aspect of it was the guest speakers that came in. That actually is what actually helped me get into the career field I'm in right now. I had some different guest speakers that came to speak to us when we were in class that was already in a career, really very well established at the time. And they really kind of opened our minds to different fields that we didn't know was available. Because obviously, okay, I'm doing HVAC. I'm probably going to be a air conditioning technician or a refrigeration technician or something in that specific field, right? I never knew there was property management. Property management is, although they have HVAC, they have all these different avenues that you could pivot from the HVAC experience. So I didn't know that was possible until I was able to speak to these guest speakers, and they kind of opened my eyes to the different possibilities. So that helped me steer, my understanding of what I wanted to do in a streamlined, specific direction. Because obviously, when you're coming out with a certain skill, you're like, okay, now I'm going into the job field. Which direction do I go in from there? Career services definitely help you build that confidence to jump into the workforce. And me, it was a very difficult decision initially for me because I was leaving a job that was paying okay, but I had no direction. I was capped essentially. I was doing sales. And it was a frustrating time in my life and that made me join UEI. But, just the guidance and everything like that made it kind of easier for me to make that decision ultimately. And the guest speakers was, very important to me heading in that direction. And then from there, just also having the resources UEI, made available to you. They actually was very intentional on letting you know, like, even after you graduate, there's labs you can come back to if you needed to brush up on your skills, if you needed, what can I say, literature or things like that. You can come back and you have that opportunity to take advantage of that. So it's a very reassuring thing knowing that, okay, even after you graduate, you still have these resources to fall back on or to utilize while you're out there looking for a job, while you're out there, at the entry level stage of your job.
Wow. Wow, that seems like something very unique. the fact that you
Oh,
have
yeah.
those resources even post graduation. Because I know if I went back to my school, they would just kick me right back out. So that's awesome.
But yeah, I can totally agree to that. Just basically say as soon as you graduate, you don't have to be done, right? The resources are still here for every student. So they're still looking, career services is still looking for jobs. Again, like Kareem said, you can come back and do refresher courses, you know. We still have the Red Shelf book, which is kind of like the literature for electrical. So that's still available to all the students. So it's not like you get your graduation, you're done and out. No. They're still going to work with you for however long it takes, right? That's what we're here for, because in the end result is you need to get a job, right?
Yep.
So that is the point. And just to touch on that, probably one of the most satisfying things I've been through recently. I had a student graduate about 2-3 months ago, give or take, and he earned his position. He put in the work. It's all about how much you put in, right? So he got an ambassador role. So you get a blue shirt, an extra little tassel in your gown. There's other perks, but he's essentially like my go-to guy because he put in the work. All right. After he graduated, being an ambassador, he also got valedictorian, which I put him up for. So that was huge. All right. So like 2 essential like school promotions, right? After that, so valedictorian, ambassador, I put in the good word for him to get a job here as an instructor, and he got it. So he went from my student to ambassador, valedictorian, to now working for us right along next to me. So again, opportunities here, and it's just about how much effort you want to put in.
Oh wow, that's awesome. You put this guy on, Shaun. Look at that.
He earned it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, that's awesome.
That's my flex for today.
That's your flex for today. I was gonna say, Kareem, when are you gonna be a guest speaker?
You
Gotta be a guest speaker eventually, you know?
Yeah, I think I did it once before. Shortly
Oh,
after
you already
I
have done
graduated. Yeah, that's something that I enjoyed doing because I just saw how vital it was for me in my journey. So I felt like a lot of people that might be coming up with in my situation would definitely benefit from that. So I'm always available for that.
Next time he's a guest speaker, let me know. I'll take the flight to California. That's awesome. So yeah, one last thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap it up. Now that you're in the field, in the skilled trades, was it everything you expected? Were there things that you've run into on a day-to-day that maybe were foreign to you that you didn't necessarily expect, or did you feel like you had all the resources and everything necessary to tackle on those challenges while you were there?
At the entry level, yes, definitely. Obviously, you're starting in a position where obviously they know you're coming from school, so you have the opportunity to train and learn. But entry level, I felt as though I was already there because the hands-on, same equipment, same type of systems being used. Because I work in management multifamily, so there's a lot of ACs, a lot of units. Right now, I'm at a building that is 1,228 units that I manage, the operation side. So that's a lot of AC units, a lot of different opportunities for things to go wrong. And again, a well-versed background in the field will definitely help you. In my field, every day, things change, and obviously you get different problems, and that's the reason why I love it. Because I can, use my experience that I got from school and, refer to that whenever I need to. So, it's been great. It's been very, very vital that I applied myself and made sure I wasn't just there, filling out multiple choice questions on the test. I was actually learning, and applying myself, and that really helped me. So, if I was to ever give advice for someone that would be coming into UEI and joining the program, be very, very intentional about why you're doing it. because the knowledge is priceless. Well, it's actually, you pay a price because, obviously you have to pay for the schooling at some point, but the knowledge itself and that ability to apply it, and then also the assistance you get is very priceless, especially for after you graduate. Because after you graduate, it's essentially thrown into the wolves, as they say. And with the skills, the shield and the spear that you get, it's important for you to really, execute after that so that you could, propel yourself in your career. So just post grad, all the things I learned was very essential to me getting to where I got to. And, everyone was surprised with the skill level I got coming from school. And that was because of the hands-on and the intentionality of the instructor that taught me. So, I was able to just continue growing, and, I am where I'm at today because of just that focus level and just that commitment to wanting to actually learn what I was being taught.
Nice. And I'm sure it helps having someone like Shaun, with such a plethora of knowledge and experience.
Oh, yeah.
I bet it's hard to be shocked when, you have an instructor who's been there, done that for, the vast majority of his life. So I'm sure that plays a big role as well. So awesome, guys. I just want to end on this note. Let's say that I'm a student, looking to get into the skilled trades. I don't necessarily have direction, don't know what I want to do in my life. What's one piece of advice that you would give to a student in that situation? Whether it be, HVAC or, electrical, whatever it may be. What are some words of advice you can offer someone getting into the skilled trades? And we can start with you, Shaun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most important thing is just pick a trade, pure and simple. Pick one thing and stick with it because you can always have that as your fallback. All right. So, like, for instance, during COVID, I lost my job because I refused the vaccine. That's just my feeling, my choice, whatever. It is what it is. So no complaints on my end. But I had to find work. So I knew residential and I was able to do service work, side work essentially, and keep afloat. So it's always there as a fallback, even when stuff doesn't go our way. So just pick one thing, stick with it. That's the great thing about UEI. There's so many opportunities, right? And you don't know where you might fall because electrical is very vast, right? There's different avenues, low voltage, PLC, solar, etc. So this is giving you that opportunity to get into a little bit of each part of electrical. So it's a good starting point. And that would just be my overall feeling. Just pick a trade, stick with it, whatever you like and are good at, keep going at it, don't stop.
Definitely.
And me just adding on to that, stick with it. It's very important, yes, to stick with it. But I think also the main thing is just to be very intentional about why you're starting school. You're making a commitment, a monetary commitment. If you have a family, which a lot of the guys that I had school with had already had families, you had a reason to, apply yourself in class. But you do have a lot of distractions because, again, not everyone's who comes to the school, what can I say? What they want isn't established yet, or maybe not like you. So there might be some distractions. So be very intentional on why you're going to school and apply yourself in the class. Even at least have that relationship with the instructor. I think that's very key, so that they could kind of see you and understand where they might need to hone in more, or if you have questions, they could be readily available. They understand where you are at. So just make that commitment wholeheartedly, and take it a day at a time. Don't think it's a whole curriculum and I have to learn all of this and I have to do all these things. Just take it a day at a time. And that's one thing that I realized. Once you take it a day at a time and you just structure that foundation and you just build on it, eventually you're going to be graduating and you're like, wow, man, like I know all of this stuff now. I did not expect that when I was starting. Although I expected to graduate, I didn't expect to have that much knowledge and experience without actually being in the field. So again, just be intentional about why you're there, know your why and your reason to motivate you in class, because some days, especially for myself, I had to work from 8 to 5 and make it to class from 5 to 10. So that is, self-driven. motivation right there. You have to put yourself through that in order for you to come out on the other end in a way where you feel you could be successful. So, I could be tired sometimes after a long, stressful day of work. So, you really just have to be intentional about the reasoning as to why you're there and continue to focus, take a day at a time, and, it's going to be okay at that.
And to touch on that, one last thing is be confident. Confidence is everything. I mean, that's the most important thing that I can consider as a value or a good trait, because your employer or your interview, people can see confidence. They know when you know stuff and when you don't, or if you lie, or if you're trying to skate by, or whatever it might be. So confidence shows everything. It tells you about the individual that you are, and if you're confident, you will be successful.
Definitely.
Wow. So be intentional, pick a skill trade, and be confident. You heard it from the pros. Wow, thank you guys. This has been awesome. I feel like you guys offer such a wide range of knowledge. So I really appreciate it. I know you guys are both really busy. So, the fact that you took the time to come over here and speak to this audience, I really appreciate it. So yeah, that's it for us. Shaun and Kareem, I want you guys to shout out your social medias just for the public to follow you guys in your journeys. So Shaun, you can go ahead and shout out your socials.
Yes, and thank you for the experience. Thank you for everything you guys are doing on your end. Obviously, we're going to be in touch. So I know I'm going to be buying more product here pretty soon. You're always innovating the game, so that's always cool. Yeah, so you can just find me at Sparky_Shaun on Instagram and YouTube. So yeah, give a follow, subscribe, all that. It's still pretty new and fresh, but I'm posting content as far as me doing lab days, how I'm teaching the students, what I'm teaching. So if you want any insight about what we do here, check out the page.
And it is very engaging content. I've taken a look, so definitely give them a follow.
Very nice. Yeah, and thanks again also for having me. It was kind of great to kind of reflect on, what I've come from, and I really appreciate having had that background. My socials is my name, Kareem J. Edwards on Instagram. You see a lot of distractions on there. I try to do a lot of different things only because it is social media, so I like to be social. But yeah. Again, enjoy the experience. Thanks again for having me, and I would definitely love to do this again anytime.
Same thing.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So that's it for us, guys. Like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you on the next episode of Tool Talk.